So you want to start a fashion brand in 2022. I don't blame you. It's such a fun industry to work in and such a rewarding career. So I'd love to tell you my 3 top tips for starting a fashion brand in 2022. If you're new around here, hi, I'm Vicki, founder of The Fashion Business Coach, and I love helping new brands to launch and scale successfully and achieve everything they wanted in the fashion world. You might not know that each and every week I have a new free video to help you understand the fashion industry, to answer questions that people have asked me, and just generally help you level up your business. If you're not already subscribed or following along, depending on which channel you're watching on, make sure that you do so that you can get access to that new video each and every week. So, starting a fashion brand in 2022. Such an exciting journey to be on as a fashion entrepreneur, but not without its challenges. That's exactly why I started this business and why I want to help you, because when I started my first fashion business in 2010, man, I ran into some roadblocks. It took me a long time to get traction and to see success, and I really learned eventually to nail it and to get my business out there and stocked in shops around the world, to have orders going out to people all over the world as well. But it took me a long time. So then I developed this strategy so that for my subsequent businesses and for people like yourself who are brand new, can fast track that success and avoid a lot of the trial and error that I did and a lot of the mistakes that I made first time round. So in this video, I'm sharing my 3 top tips for launching a fashion brand for 2022. So the first thing I want to tell you about is it's really important to consider who you're designing your products for and be really specific here. Don't just say, I want to start a swimwear brand. Fine, that can be a starting point, but there's so many swimwear brands out there and you really need to figure out who specifically is going to buy your swimwear. Is it swimwear for beach parties? Is it swimwear for performance swimmers? Is it swimwear to top up your tan in Ibiza? Who exactly is buying your swimsuit or your swimwear and why? Really dive into this and focus on it, because honestly, it's going to make the business so much easier. Your decision making becomes so much easier when you're super specific about this, but most importantly, it becomes so much easier to sell your product when you've got this nailed. So please don't skip this step. I know it's tempting, it's not the most exciting thing to start off with, but it's so valuable to the success of your business. And honestly, when I made that mistake the first time round and then I fixed it and I got specific, it's amazing how quickly my business turned around. I'd been struggling before when I'd been trying to sell to everyone, and then I got really specific, and it was so easy then to sell because I became known for something, not only by customers, but also boutiques and magazines who featured me. So really spend some time on this and use that as a really strong foundation for the rest of your business. But trust me when I say it, it's gonna make your decision making so much easier. The second part of this is to, of course, you'll have designed your product or have ideas for what your product's going to be, but it's important to think about your pricing. Don't just rely on factory costs to dictate your pricing. You want to make sure that the price at the end is something your customers can afford. So you need to figure out, am I budget? Am I kind of middle of the road? Am I high-end designer? Where do I want to fall within this whole pricing thing? So you really think about that and then find a supplier who aligns with that. You know, if you're selling budget pricing product, you're going to have a factory who is known for speed and perhaps not so much super high quality. If you're going at the luxury end, the high price point, you're going to need a factory who produces top quality work, spends a lot of time on it, invests a lot of care and detail and attention into their products. So make sure that that factory is aligned with the products that you're making and the pricing, and make sure that's all working together well. There's not a one factory fits all type solution. You know, I can't just recommend a factory to someone just knowing, oh, they make swimwear. You really got to go deep in what you want from a factory before you can start looking for a factory. And the third thing I want to share with you is you want to be actively managing your factory. It's no good just to have this mentality, and I see this time and time again with new brands who think, oh, I'll just kind of come up with a product idea, send it to a factory and they'll just make it all perfect. Like it's their job, like I'll pass it over to them. That's their responsibility to make it good. Not the case. Please don't believe that. It's not true. You have to really actively manage your factory. That starts with communicating your products in detail. And I mean detail. I mean what fabric it's going to be, down to the percentages of the fibers and all that kind of thing. What stitch details are going to be used, how it's put together, what's the construction like, what are the measurements like. You need to be giving specific information to the factory, because the reality is, and when you hear of these kind of horror stories of manufacturing, most of the time it's because of a communication breakdown, because someone's just said to a factory, make me a triangle bikini. And then the factory have done that, and then you're like, not that kind of triangle bikini, that's all wrong. And then think, oh, this is the factory, they're not very good. But actually it's because there's so many triangle bikinis out there. What kind do you want? What color should it be? All these different details. So make sure you're being super specific initially with the factory, but then also making sure that you keep on top of it. Ask how the production's going. Ask them when things are going to be delivered. Make sure you keep checking in. This shouldn't be something that you just kind of hand over and then you leave them to their own devices. That's how things go badly wrong. And I realized quite, well, later than I should, but kind of early on when I was producing products for my brands, that actually the factories aren't always working with our best interests in mind. And I know there's a few honest factories out there, and if you're one of them watching, I'm sorry, but it is the case that often the factory just want to tick complete on their production flow. They don't really care about the nitty-gritty. They don't care about your customers like you do. They just want to make sure that it's finished and they got paid. So they're not going to be worrying about every little detail, because they're also going to think, oh, well, this person hasn't given me specific information. They're obviously not that bothered about it, so why should I bother? So you need to be really specific with what you're saying to the factory, what you're giving to the factory, and how you manage the factory as well. So I hope that's been helpful. Probably not what you were expecting me to say. Actually, let me know in the comments if this aligns with what you thought you should do to start your fashion business in 2022. Let me know. If these are topics that you're now interested in, you're thinking, okay, I can see the logic here, Vicki, I should be working on this. I'd love to invite you to join me in my new free masterclass. It's new for 2022, and it's how to get your fashion designs produced without wasting your time and money. If you've been following me for a while, you'll know that I've had similar masterclasses in the past. This one's totally revamped for 2022 so that we can make sure we're doing what's currently working in the industry. Because as you may know, there was a global pandemic recently. Things have changed a little, so I want to make sure that everything is up to date. So feel free to register. That's going to be happening shortly. So the link in the description will give you all of the information you need to know about that when it's happening, and so that you can come and make the most out of that free class. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye.